Hello everyone. Today I start LWC folder. Second session. First session is introduction sessions, but second session is LWC folder. So we will cover theoretical part of LWC, how to create folder, how to create files manually. Like all the topics are covered. So let us start the topic. My name is Muhammad Ali. I am from Zebra Technosis. So today's topic LWC folder, how to create a LWC folder, how to create LWC files, like as well as. So previous sessions we will be covered. We I was covered this introduction parts of LWC, how to set up VS Code, how to download LWC CLI, Salesforce CLI, and how to set up connect with org, like basic previous sessions. So today's topic LWC folder. So I will be explain LWC folder. To create a component, first create a folder that build your components file. The folder and its file must be same name, including capitalizations and underscore. Like example of LWC component folder. My components is a folder, and then in the components folder, in the components file, under the component folder, my component.html, my component.js, my component.xml file, my component.css, my component.svg, right? So those are example of LWC folders, LWC files. So second one is LWC folder and files rule. So LWC automatic create of files. When we will create folder, then automatic three files are existing in the LWC folder, like HTML, CSS, and HTML, JavaScript, and XML file. The folder and its file must be following those naming rules. Most begin with the lowercase letter. Okay, must contain only alphabet or underscore capture characters. Must be unique in the namespace, right? Can't include white space and can't end with the underscore. Just we will show we will show you how to that can't contain two concessive underscore, can't contain two hyphen dash, right? And the next one is I already told you camel case and kebab case. So today we will cover camel case and kebab case. Just different between camel case and kebab case. Lightning web components much web standard whenever possible. The HTML standard required that custom element names contain a hyphen. This is a camel case. Sign all lightning web component have a namespace that spread from separated from the folder name by hyphen. Component name meet the HTML standard. For example, the makeup the makeup for the lightning web component with the folder name void in the default namespace C is like as well as C underscore C high, like this example for camel case and kebab case. So camel case, for example, camel case starting word with alphabetically small letter, right? But it is not existing any underscore, any namespace does not exist. But kebab case is existing the hyphen, underscore, and namespace. But camel case is not. Okay. And then next we will cover lightning web component html file. html file, every UI component must have an html file with the root tag template. Template tag is a html tags. Under the template tags you can write the any structure, any code. Service components does not require an html file. Libraries, like service component, libraries. Okay. The html files follow the naming convention component.html. Component.html, html files name, as well as same component.html, such as my component.html. My component name is a component. My component is a component name, and .html is a file dedicated for the html file, right? And create the html for a lightning web component declarative within the template tag. The html template elements contain your components html. This is an example of html under the template tag. Template, using the template tag, this is a when we will create any folders, any files, html files. So you can automatic generated template tag. Under the template tag you can any write the structure and write the code, replace comments and components html, right? I hope html files understand the html file. And html5, when a components and more informations of html files. When a component render, the template tag is replaced with the name of components, as namespace hyphen components name, right? For example, in the browser console, my component, this is a camel case. A starting word of starting letter, a small letter, and then we will be next word, starting letter capital. Render r c hyphen my components. This is example of kebab case. C and hyphen my hyphen component. This is an example of kebab case where C is a default namespace. Where C is a default namespace. The HTML spread mandates that tag for custom element components array aren't self closing. In other word, custom element multi including a spread closing tags. For example, the ctado times component nested in the components, including a spread sorry separate closing tags, right? For example, in the starting, open the template tag. Under the template tag you can any write of a structure and write of code. So end of you closing, you separate closing tags. If you started, so you can ending and closing the tags, right? Component. And the next one is lightning web component javascript file. Lightning web component javascript file. One is show html. I can show the, one second. You can see this. This is LWC files, HTML files. Under the logic, under the structure, you can see this under the template tag. Any write of structure, any write of code, you can see this template tag HTML tags. Template tag is a HTML tags. You can see this under the template. Open the template tag under the logic, under the structure and write of code, and end of closing tag, separate closing tag. Okay. And next one is JavaScript files. Lightning web component JavaScript files. JavaScript file, every component must have the JavaScript file if the component render UI. The JavaScript file define the HTML elements. For example, if you write the any code, any structure of the HTML in the HTML files, you can any define any logic exist in the JavaScript file. If the components is a service component libraries, the JavaScript file exports functionality for other components to use. If the components is a service component, the JavaScript file export functionality for the components to use. For example, uh, I can show this is a JavaScript file. JavaScript file import export. This is a functionality. Lightning element is a functionality, and then LWC is a method. Functionality exists in the method import, right? And export default class noob. This is a class, noob LWC demo. This is a component name, file component name. So in the export default classes, under the bracket, you can write the logic. You can you can write the logic, and you can define the HTML elements, right? Just one example, I am just writing this logic. I am like sorry I am writing this structure. I can't define any lines of code to HTML in the HTML files. So it is defined exist in the JavaScript files. You can see this test1 is name and test2 is font. Like this test1 is an, I don't know what is test1, but I can explain, I can write the logic in the JavaScript file. So you can see this test1 name define. I have defining the test1. What is test1? Test1 is a name, test2 is a phone, test3 is a email, test4 address. These types of this type of declarations, this type of defining if the component is right. Okay. JavaScript files is a lightning web component or ES6 modules. Modules means modules. This is a module. LWC is a module. It means LWC is a module, is a latest module, is a defined already standard, because we will using the JavaScript, standard JavaScript. So when we will creating the components, any components folder, like components folder, component files, it is already exist in the method LWC standard already, automatic generate, right? Okay. And by default, everything declare in the module is local. It's scripted the module. And then more information JavaScript file, to import a class function or variable declare in the module, use the import statement. I already told you, this is a method, this is a functionality, it is the declarations, declare. This line is declared import, importing the importing the functionality and method, which type of using the method, which type of using the functionality, you can show this import, right? And just a second one, to allow other code to use a class function or variable declare in the module, use the export statement to allow other code to use to use a class function or variables declare in the module. I already told you, other code of declare export file, export export method, right? You can declare the logic, declare the define the structure, define the codes, define the HTML code, define the HTML logic. So as well as declare in the other declare codes in the export module used to the export statement, right? And the JavaScript file follow the naming convention component.js, such as my component.js. This is a file's name. My component is a component.js declare the actually following name conventions declare the JS file. .html declarations, naming convention is the HTML folder, markup folder, and .js is a declare in the JavaScript folder. You can see this structure I already show you. JavaScript file import link, this is a functionality, this is a method, export other code existing in the logic, existing in the export default my components, right? Export default class my components, the in the export default class, in the other codes, other logic, you can import the defaulted class. JavaScript files more information. The core module in the Lightning Web component is LWC. The import statement imports Lightning element from the LWC module. I already told you, but I am again explain this. The core module is Lightning Web Components is LWC. The core module in Lightning Web Components is LWC. The import statement imports Lightning elements. Lightning elements means functionality from the module, from the LWC module. Okay, and then Lightning element is a custom wrapper of the standard HTML elements. Is it clear? Lightning elements is a custom wrap up of the standard elements. Okay. Extend lightning elements to create a JavaScript class for the Lightning Web Component. You can't extend any other class to create Lightning Web Components. Okay, it is clear. The JavaScript files can contain the component's public API via public property and methods annotated with @API. Fields, event handling fields, it is already clear. Fields, what is fields? Using the fields like for example, fields using the fields of account, contact, opportunity, any custom fields, any standard fields, you can use the JavaScript folder. And event handler means just for example, just we can create the button, and what the button I am clicking this button, what the performance in the what the logic, what they open the event handlers. So you can use the event handler. Okay, then Lightning web component configurations files, I already overview told you, but I can show you again. Lightning web components configurations files means designing files, XML files, right? So the configurations file define the metadata value from the components, including supported targets and the designing configurations for the Lightning App Builder and Experience Builder. The configurations file define the metadata value. Metadata value means for the components, including support targets, which type of target, designing configurations for the Lightning App Builder and Experience Builder. Previous class I have already explained this. Every component must have a configurations file. Every components must have a configurations file. The configurations file follow the naming convention like component.js, metadata.xml, like this, as well as same using like my components dot js meta dot xml. Any type of targets, any type of designing, any type of configurations, you can use the xml meta xml files, including the configurations file in the components project folder, and push it to your org along with the other components. You can you can exist the other one targets in the xml file. For example one, this is already told you version and API version, latest version API, expose true, target. Target is a target. So you can target and designing configurations. I already told you Lightning App Builder, Experience Builder, you can target. So like as well as same look this files. Okay, when we will create components folder, components files, so it is already existing and already create this, and just we will write the targets, we will configurations designing, you can use. Just next example, you can see this is already I explain, but it is the configurations other targets, other target you can configuration designing other components using. So you can existing in the code xml file. Okay. Second one is lightning web component css file. I have already told you css is optional files. We can create manually, we can create manually files, if you need, if you required, so you can create the css files and css implementations. Okay. And the next one is lightning web component svg icon file. Svg icon file I can explain. SVG icon, a components can include an SVG resources to use as a custom icon in Lightning App Builder and Experience Builder. To include an SVG resource and a custom icon for your components, add its to your components folder. It must be named components.svg, component.svg. If the component is called my component is the component, so the svg is my component.svg. You can only have one svg per folder. If you, this is a very important line, only one have svg fold per folder, one svg file, another svg files not exist. Okay. Second one is lightning web component additional js file. Lightning web components additional js files. If you want to create, if you need, if you required another additional javascript file, so you can also use, it is existing. Just for example, additional JavaScript file. A component folder can contain other JavaScript file. Use their JavaScript file, the structure code in UI component, and share code from service component. Those additional JavaScript file must be ES6 model, and names must have names that are unique within the components folder. For example, my components is a folder. My components, there are three files is automatic create, my component.html, my component.js. My component is a component. .html means tagging the folder name, which type of folder, which type of files, like html, css, and javascript. So .html is a tagging of html, and js is a declaration of this file is a js file. My component.js meta xml, there are three files is automatic create, and then my component.css, it is the manually create. I want to manually create, and if you required, so you can create the my component.css. Some utilite.js, this is a additional javascript file. Some mode utilized.js, this is which one is also additional javascript file. Export function are variable in the javascript file, so they can be imported by the component's main javascript files. Okay, how to import how to import an additional javascript files, so I can show you. But additional javascript files naming is different, so same name is not exist. You can see this. Import, how to import lightning element from LWC. This is already automatic creating, but I want to additional JavaScript file in the import some function means functionality. You can use the functionality from the some utilized is a additional JavaScript file under single quote dot files name. Okay, export default and the logic, you can use my components, right? Next one is lightning web component namespace. Next one is lightning web component namespace. Component namespace to reference your own components. Always code with the default namespace. C. C is always defaulted namespace. Use C regardless of where the code is running, in an org with or without a namespace, in a managed or unmanaged package. You can see this example of namespace. You can see this C hyphen contact hyphen title. C is a defaulted namespace. Okay, this is a object, and title name, contact, this. Okay, this is a variable. Component namespace in JavaScript. This is also example of additional JavaScript files. You can import the additional JavaScript file. Okay, so I hope this is very useful, and this is very understanding. It is a better understanding to upcoming sessions. We will create just practically code by code, and you can use the import, export, and the in the lightning html files, js files, so we can implement this, and you can just better understand. Okay, so I can, for example, just I have already told you, so we can write the code and write the HTML folder to two platform. One is VS Code, and second one is Lightning Studio extensions. If you don't download the Lightning Studio extensions, so you can just go the open the browser and search bar in the search Lightning Studio extension. You can just click on first link, and then so I can again show, just open the browser and search Lightning Studio extensions. So click on first link, and just I have already downloaded, I have already at the Chrome browser. So it is this button is removed from Chrome, so you can just first using, so you can show this, it is the add button. Click on add button, just add this, and just go to the extension icon and just you pin it, so you can use. Okay, just how to create external manually files. So you can just click on LWC demo, under the LWC, right click, and right click you can see first one is new files, new folder. If you want to create folders, so you can create a folder, but you can use the if you want to create the CSS SVG, so you can see this, like name is LWC demo 3 dot svg, right? And press the enter. You can see this svg file is creating, and you just open files and VS Code standard text binary editor, right? Okay, so you can create any type of type of files. So if you want to create additional Java files, so you can you can create, just click on right click and for files, and new files is creating, just additional file ad.js, press enter, ad.js. So you can see this, it is the creating, and just you implement it. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So tomorrow, next upcoming sessions we will cover, we will creating the how to create and how to implement HTML. Just I have one example, and uh, just write the code, and 1v1 codes, and just implement and show the UI, so you can understanding. So as well as if you want to any query, any questions, you can pass in comment box. Just I'm upcoming sessions, firstly your doubt, clearance your doubt, then I will start next sessions, right? So thank you so much.